Tonight on the podcast, we're going to be talking about some geek news, the Ant-Man trailer, Marvel's release schedule for the 2023 year, and a news segment, JP's opinion, why RDJ should get a Golden Globe for the Endgame. All right, let's... It's Friday night in Phoenix, and you're listening to the best goddamn motherfucking podcast in the whole world, the Absolute Geek Podcast. I am your host tonight, Lance.
And I'm JP.
Matt and Ish could not be here. Ish's internet got exploded by a nuclear bomb, and Matt is out hula dancing in Hawaii with the locals there. So... Which is something I would want to see, something I would want to pay money for. See Matt hula dance.
Be worth the price to go.
No, it is his daughter's first birthday. Pretty big deal when it's your first birthday. So he is spending some time with his family, and we wish Logan a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So, JP, how was your week, my friend?
It was comic-filled this week. Comic-filled.
Did you go on the hunt?
I went on the hunt. Last week, I bought a book. It came this week. I found a new auction site that I will not disclose because it's my honeypot. And I found...
You'll tell me later, though, right?
Heck yeah. But I can't let it out to everybody. But I did find... I won 3 auctions. One of them arrived today. And then I bought a third book off eBay, and they all came Thursday and Friday. So I'm elated. So
that's awesome, man.
Yep.
Yeah, you get pretty geeked over finding some grails. It seems like. Do they call them that in the comic book world? Or are they called grails?
We had one of the episodes we're going to be dropping for other show is going to be talking about someone getting his name is Arrow. He got Superman 1. After years of trying to building up to get it, he finally got his grail. And one of his points is that you have to be laser focused to get your grail. Whereas I get excited finding things out in the wild, and I think I'm focused and organized, I believe, but when something cool comes up, I'll grab it, right? I'm not laser focused like he was talking about. So any book to me can be considered a grail, but I think really technically it should be a Fantastic Four 1, ASM 1, mm-hmm. That should be grail. Whereas, X-Men,
whatever your grail is.
Yeah, it could be that, but I think if you're talking to, it's like playing college ball versus the pros, right? Or high school versus the pros.
So subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that goes for really anything that you collect. Like you have certain things that are important to you, and then it depends on what reason you're collecting, right? Are you collecting to purchase it and then resell it? Because then grail is very a wide term.
Yeah.
But if it's for you, like my Funko Pops are for me, I have certain grails that I want, and there's certain things considered grails that I have no interest in ever obtaining. So
yeah, definitely. I don't. Rohan, he and I talk, and someday maybe we don't really have AF-15 in our sites. That's definitely a grail, but I don't think it's a reasonable grail. Whereas, Hulk 181 is definitely reasonably in our reach at some point. But who knows? The guy we spoke with, Errol, he was buying AF-15s in 2000, 2002, and had like almost 10 of them, and then was able to trade them all up, and he was able to get a 0.5 Superman #1. I mean, that's $100,000 on that book, but that's his grail. He's got it. So I mean, it's definitely a cool story, and I think that's a neat story itself to get to his grail. But I get distracted when something cool comes up. I'll grab it, or a good deal. So,
how much did he spend on it?
I think he said about $100,000. He didn't say for sure, but I'm just that's what we were thinking. I'm not sure.
$100,000,
and he sold the AF-15. I think it was a 7.0 or a 7.5, and I think he got near that, so that turned into Superman 1 at a 0.5. So AF-15 at a 7 is equivalent to a 0.5, I guess.
Wow.
Price-wise at the time he got it. So
wow.
So this is my Superman 1. That Jim Lee cover.
Oh.
I got
that's crazy. $100,000 for paper. It's just nuts to me.
You ever have? I mean, most people have buyer's remorse. You buy a car, and you say, "Maybe I shouldn't have spent that much on the car," or
I'll tell you right now, I'm never spending $100,000 on a car.
No, and I think, like a book I got this week that came in the mail. I don't want to call it a grail, but it's pretty close. But I got giant size X-Men 1.
Oh, that's cool.
Right,
4.5.
4.5 presents pretty good. But after I bought it, I thought, man, maybe I didn't need it that bad.
At least you have like you have a house and stuff. Like there's some people, like I buy Funkos from some people, like third party, and I go and they're living in like a 1-bedroom apartment with their 2 kids and stuff, and they've got a shit ton of Funkos, and I'm like, your priorities are a little fucked.
Yeah.
But there are those people. But I mean, if you've got the money to go do it, then fucking go do it.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've enjoyed the hunt of it, finding things at flea markets and antique stores, and every once in a while something pops up on Elite Comics or Grails, and the prices have been good as of recent if you can swing it. And I just got to sell more just to what do you call it, justify the purchase.
Right. Keep the instead of dipping in your own pockets, trying to have the hobby pay for itself.
Yep. And we were talking, Rohan and I, about 181, and that's definitely on my sights, but this GSX was a good price. And definitely the trifecta for me was ASM 129, GSX 1, and Hulk 181. Those 3, if I can get those 3, I would be happy. I don't need an AF-15. I don't need a Fantastic Four 1. I mean, I'll gladly take them, but I'm not trying to spend $100,000 on a comic. But even $3,000 to $5,000 seems excessive to me.
For sure, man. For sure.
But check this out. I don't know if you know anything about this book. I was more excited about this one coming in than I was the GSX 1, because I found this on a auction site. Okay. Is
it a reissue?
It's a facsimile. It's the Loot Crate version. You ever heard of Loot Crate?
Okay. Yeah, I know Loot Crate.
And they go for a couple $100, I think, right? If they're graded.
Really?
I think they do. Yeah, I saw them on there. Maybe I'm wrong if someone tells me what the deal is, but this one looks pretty close to a 9.6 or 9.8, and I saw them online for $400. And I got the whole lot that came with this and some other books for $50.
Yeah, Loot Crate's pretty cool.
This is the Aquaman #1 that came in that same pack too. Loot Crate.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Loot Crate is kind of the same thing as like the Amazon monthly subscriptions that I get for Funko. Every so often, it depends on how many they produce, but every so often, like I know the first one they did that had the Hobgoblin in it, that Hobgoblin's worth quite a bit of money.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. There's a few different Hobgoblin Funkos, but that one for the Amazon box is worth quite a bit. And
it's just based on that they didn't produce as many of them, or because of their popularity?
It's before the subscription boxes got really popular. They only have so many, so there's like, I know one time I canceled my subscription, then went to start it again, and they were all gone. So it's not like just anybody can get them. But now I think it's easier than it was before. Funkos seem to be dying down a little bit. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I mean, I was never into them, so I saw that store in California that was covered, looks like the back of your your backdrop there looked just like that, except they was all over the place. So I think it just depends.
Evening, Joe Stolen.
What's up, yo?
Yeah. It's like I went into Hot Topic the other day, and the Hot Topic, this was in Tempe Marketplace. They used to have a huge wall full of Funkos, and I went in there last week sometime. I don't remember when, but their wall has been condensed to like 10% of what it was.
Really?
And I don't know if it's just Hot Topics getting out of the Funko game, or if there's just not the demand there was once for it. I mean, the old ones are still holding their value. It's just I think they just released too many.
Well, I was at Walmart. They had a bunch of them there. It looked like I didn't think they were worth anything, more than what sticker price was, but they had them there. But the Hot Topics near me is closed down, so maybe some of them are closing down. And I'm not saying that that's a bellwether for all of Hot Topics, but I've been seeing more of them around here being closed down. So
yeah,
that might be the reason, as opposed to Funkos. It might be Hot Topic more.
Joe Stolen brings up a good point. He says Funko was the last gasp of disposable income. It's true. There's not a lot of disposable income floating around right now for probably the majority of these collectors. I know I don't have the disposable income that I once had. My purchases have slowed down really bad. I mean, I did pick up one that I really wanted that I just found at Walgreens. It was a Jubilee X-Men from the animated series, but that was just because that was a character that I wanted. It's not like it was before where every Marvel release I'm standing in line at Target.
Oh,
yeah, like Marvel releases, I would stand in line at 6 a.m., wait for Target to open. There'd be a line of maybe 50 of us, and they only have stock of like 10, and you'd have as soon as those doors open, a race to the electronics section.
Like,
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I've got some up in this corner over here. I have some Blacklight Funkos that I got from Target, and that was the craziest I'd ever seen it. The Blacklights people go nuts for.
But I mean, I've been out of collecting since last year. So Funkos, I knew what they were, but I didn't know the craze on them. But I get it with, I was out of most of that for a while. So, but I can definitely get it. Everything can be collectible.
Yeah, I think their problem is they just release so many now that it's impossible, unless you're, have a lot of disposable income, but it's just impossible to keep up with it. I mean, there are characters I've never even heard of that are being released from Marvel and stuff that who would want to. I mean, the demand, they saturated the market.
Yeah, and same thing happened with comics in the 90s, and I think at some point in the, this year or last year it happened with comics, and even prior to that, and I don't know, 2013, 2010, somewhere around there. Your Silver Age stuff, your Golden Age holds. So the Funkos that you have that are rare, they'll, like you said, they're holding their value. But a lot of things get so saturated, like variant covers, everyone's a Funko Pop, and then that you kind of weed out the collectors that aren't in it for the long run.
Yeah, and I'm still gonna pick up. My main issue, if you could see from behind me, I'm running out of room. That's my issue.
I know you.
So I've kind of slowed down a little bit until I get my new house.
When's that happening?
We're thinking like 3 years. We're doing a custom build.
Oh, nice. Who's the builder? Is there a builder that's
my brother-in-law?
Oh, nice.
My brother-in-law started his own home building company like 5 years ago. He built my parents' house. He's built quite a few houses, but that way I get the best deal. So
yeah, should.
Yeah, my office, the plan for my office in my new house is going to be about 3 times the size of this one.
Well, how many bedrooms are going to get in that house? You need 6 of them, right? You got 5 kids?
Well, the boys are going to share a room. The 2 little girls are going to share a room. And my oldest is going to get her own room, and then the office. So yeah, 6.
Nice.
Which is pretty, I mean, 6 in Arizona because there's so much land. I don't know how it is there, but it's pretty common out here. 5 to 6 bedrooms.
Yeah, where I'm at, we got 2 acres and 5 bedrooms. So I mean, it's but in Pittsburgh itself, probably not as common. Like even get suburbs maybe. So it's good. You need, use the room, man. I mean, when you got that many people in your house, you need a place to hide. So,
well, yeah, my eventually my plan is whenever we get our house built to eventually build a casita, because it's going to be on an acre. Build a casita in the back and move my office to that. So, and I want to put a studio in there as well, recording studio.
Nice.
So I'll have like a little living room with a little kitchenette thing, like not a full size kitchen, but something where guests can stay, and like 2 bedrooms on it, like small bedrooms, you know. But and one of those would be my office.
Nice.
That'd
be good. And you can go sleep there.
Yeah, right. No, I really want a studio. Like that's why I have so many musical instruments, man. Like I got 4 guitars, I got a piano, I've got bass guitars, I got violins, I've got, you know, I want to buy a drum set. Like I've got so much fucking music shit that I've got a 40 channel mixer that takes like it's under my bed right now. It's so freaking big, dude.
Holy God.
Like, so I want to build a studio with a partition down the middle with a glass window that's completely soundproof, and be able to do some recordings in there.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, you wouldn't have to leave your compound. We'll call it Lance's compound. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I just told my wife, I said, you can have the house and just give me my own little address and have my mail delivered here.
That's right. Yeah, I got a cousin. He said, I want a garage. It has to be a 4-car garage. Put a bed and a bathroom in there, and I'm happy. I don't need anything else.
But that's what's nice out here. Like, I'm not sure how it is where you're at, but you said you're on 2 acres.
Mm-hmm.
So is it a lot of trees and stuff? Is it a lot of wooded area?
Yeah, half of it's wooded. The other half is yard. So but there's a road behind me, so I don't have any neighbors, but the trees kelp block the road. So
that's good.
Sometimes come wintertime, all the leaves fall and you can see right to my house from there. But the one
so here, because it's all flat, I mean, you buy an acre, it's pretty, like I don't have to go knock down any trees or anything. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty easy to utilize 100% of your land. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, like getting around to the back, you know, like you don't have trees in the way or hills or rocks. You can just drive right back there and take your car back there and build that spot, and then, you know, get around back there.
Yeah, it's nice. And my parents, where they built, they're just maybe not even 5 minutes away from me. They built in a really rocky area, and they had a pool built. They had to pay an extra $10,000 to have a special machine come in and dig the hole, because their regular machines couldn't do it because the ground is so hard. It's like concrete. And if you saw where the hole was dug, it looks like broken concrete.
Oh, wow.
Like that's how fucking hard it was. So they were going to build a pool that was like double the size of what they're going to build, but it would have cost an exuberant amount of money because the ground is so hard. But it's super rocky. Like they're in the rocky hills just down the road. But where my brother-in-law built, which is also in about 5-10 minutes in the other direction, it's all previous farmland. So he's able to dig no problem. It's all soft and you know, like absolutely no issues there.
Jeez.
So
just a difference of 10 minutes and it's like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's flat. I mean, you can building on top, not a problem. If you want to lay a concrete pad, build on top, that's a problem. But if you want to go down, then you have an issue.
It's a good thing you don't have to worry about anything sinking underneath you, but I mean, just put an above ground pool in and call it a day.
Yeah. You don't see many above ground pools here.
I'm telling you, the cost to put a pool in and then do a new liner, if you're going to do a liner pool, costs as much as an above ground pool.
What do you mean a liner?
Well, if you put a pool, and I have a pool and I have a liner in my pool, so it's
in the ground. In the ground,
so the pool's in the ground. You have a liner that sort of keeps the water in. It's not concrete. The pool's not concrete. It's a liner. It's
like vinyl.
Yeah, it's like vinyl, and then you have other pools that are that material, like a plastic material they make out of fiberglass.
Oh, that would never last out here.
So
the sun would rot it up in 5 seconds.
The fiberglass or the vinyl?
Yeah, everything out here we have like Pebble Tech, and it's like concrete.
Oh, see, that probably lasts. It's the liner itself for me. It cost as much as my friend put a pool in above ground. Just my liner cost as much as his entire pool.
Oh wow, yeah. You don't have to do that here.
Then you take down the pool when you want to be done with it because it's always work. Clean the pool, chemicals and stuff like that. When you get old enough, you don't want a pool anymore. You just shut down the above ground pool and say see ya.
So why the liner? Because things tend to sink or shift and stuff.
No, just that was the way it was made. I think our liner lasted 30 years in our pool, and the new ones should last. I'm hoping to last at least 10 years for what it costs, but that's just what was in there, right? Because they have foam behind the liner, and then it's concrete below that. But the liner sort of just keeps all the water. And I don't know why. That must have been the way they did it back then.
I think it's just your elements allow those things to probably allow that kind of technology. Here, you dig the hole is lined with rebar from the top, like they built, and they pour concrete in it, or this one. So my parents, they did concrete, the rebar formed the concrete, and then they do something called Pebble Tech over it, which is kind of a granular like concrete type thing. But that pool's never going to move. Like it's there forever. Like, you have to get a jackhammer to get that thing out.
It'll cost more to fill that hole than it will be to put a new liner in or to do the concrete again on it. That's the thing. Like almost once the hole's there, you're going to keep it forever because it's more costly to fill it than it is to fix it if anything ever goes wrong.
And it's we got some spam.
And sticks. I'm glad you got that. I put that on the screen. No problem. Thank you, sir.
But I'm not sure with Pebble Tech, but I know my parents' old pool, it had I don't think is it called shotcrete? I think that's what it's called. You have to get it relined. Like
it's called vermiculite.
They have to do like an acid wash. They empty the pool, they do an acid wash to it, and then they put a new
vermiculite or something it's called.
Yeah, it's something like that, but it's essentially like concrete, like they shave off the top of it and then they put a new layer on it, I guess. I'm not a pool guy. I don't fucking understand, but I know they call it relining. But that's crazy. Yeah, dude, you can't have like plastic furniture, the plastic furniture you get from fucking Walmart, like you can't have that shit here. Like it'll break. One summer the sun will rot it and it'll break. Like you can't have that stuff.
Well, that's the thing around here. You can't have like stuff just goes bad because of wintertime. You got to put everything away because the winter does a job on stuff too here. Like my pool gets covered and all that kind of stuff, but any outside furniture it's just going to get beat up, and it'll last longer than a year. But your sun is way too destructive, I guess, for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but if you have like wood or metal, that can stay out all year. The only thing you have to worry about is when the winds get bad and it take your fucking patio furniture.
Yeah, that's why I put everything in my pool house and covered everything up. But I've had metal. Well, they were from Walmart, but they got rusted. So I mean,
we don't have that issue.
You fight elements all the time. I hate it, but that's the way life is, right?
I would say, as far as elements are concerned, Arizona is probably the easiest place to get by.
Yep.
But it is funny. So I think it might have been last year. I think it was last year. We had really bad winds, and I had enough foresight to go buy these big 12-inch rebar stakes, like hook. They have a hook on the end, and I staked my trampoline down every foot. Like I staked it down. The next morning, everybody in my neighborhood lost their trampolines except me.
Nice.
Like they were in other people's yard, like enough wind to pick up a trampoline and move it 3 houses down.
Oh yeah, it could kill somebody or go through a house or something.
Yeah. So people like lost their trampolines or they're flipped over in their backyards and stuff, and mine was fucking put like nothing.
Yep, just as above ground pools. If I was gonna do it again, I'd do it that way.
I do remember in Colorado when I was there was a lot of above ground pools. In Missouri, when I lived there was a lot of above ground pools. So I have seen them, and I have seen them here, but they're not as like, it's once in a blue moon somebody has an above ground pool. Like one of the ones that has the siding on it that you don't move. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You can build a deck around it, but you can take it all down. Once you dig that hole, it's it is what it is. But
yeah,
but it's fun to have.
Kids love it.
Yeah,
I'm sure your kids love it.
I love keeping it clean and putting chemicals in it and all that shit. So,
do you have pool cleaners out there? Is that big industry?
No, I mean, if you have a problem, there's one of two people to call, and the one will never show up, and the other one will charge you double. So you're kind of fucked one way or the other.
There's a
It
pool
sucks.
cleaner on every corner here. I can open a phone. Well, back when they had phone books, I could open a phone book and easily find 100 pool cleaners within 5 miles of my home.
You can't even get people. One guy's not reliable. The other guy just charges more because they're a franchise. And I don't, it's like getting a plumber. You pay what it is to have them show up. Your pipes break. It is what it is.
Yeah. So did I block this guy?
The yard trifecta.
There we go.
My favorite.
So let's see. Let's get started into. We have a pretty short show scheduled for tonight because
minus the pool talk.
Minus the pool talk. Actually, is your team in the playoffs? Are the Steelers in the playoffs? No.
They are.
They are. Who are they playing this weekend?
They're playing the Pittsburgh Passions.
What?
That's the girl football team they're playing. They're the professional girls team.
Oh, so they're not in the playoffs. No. I couldn't remember because I knew they could have made the playoffs if such and such happened. My team was out of the playoffs in feels like August. But
yeah, we needed Miami to beat the Jets to beat Miami. It didn't happen. And Matt's team needed to beat Detroit and didn't. So we're both sitting here on the sidelines enjoying whatever may come to be in football this year.
Who's your pick to win the whole thing? Don't say the Steelers because they can't.
Never know. Well, they never played that Buffalo-Cincinnati game. Never replayed it.
Yeah, so I think if the Bills go to the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, it's going to be at a neutral location or something like that.
No, the Chiefs got first. The Chiefs, from what I heard, the Chiefs have first.
But the Bills could have got first, right? If they beat the Cincinnati.
If they did, but Bills got second seed and Cincinnati got third. So if the Bills play Cincinnati in the divisional round, it'll be in Buffalo. Whereas had they played that game and Cincinnati would have won, that game would be in Cincinnati.
So yeah, I think it's affecting the first round too, because if Bills would have won that game, they could have had the first seed because they beat the Chiefs.
Right, they wouldn't. But they're playing this week. I mean, the Chiefs have the bye, and that was the thing because. If they, a lot of could have happened if they won, but think if someone would have got hurt. So it could have gone any way. And I don't know why they didn't play it, but they just basically said it didn't make much of a difference. The Chiefs got first round bye and Buffalo gets the second. And, I guess.
That's bullshit because Kansas City, the only reason they have first is because they won one more game.
Right. And the Bills
but they lost the same amount.
All right. The Bills beat them, so they would have had home field. So. But Cincinnati could have won the game and, could have had the first seed or at least the second seed and had, that game at home. I don't.
Are you sure about that? Because I swear.
I just talked to a Bills fan today and he said Chiefs have the bye and they basically took the lesser of all the evils and let Buffalo have the second seed and Cincinnati with the third because it would have been.
Okay, so I just found it. So if the Bills and Chiefs meet in the AFC Championship game, it's going to be played in Atlanta.
Huh. I talked to him today. He didn't say anything about that. He said,
yeah, this was from a day ago, and this is from NFL.com, actually. The NFL announced on Thursday that Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home of the Atlanta Falcons, has been selected as the neutral location for a potential Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs AFC Championship game on January 29th.
Yeah, Darth Lopez just said that too. So you got to listen to Darth Vader. But
I think that is a leg up for the Bills. I would hate to go play in Kansas City.
All right, Arrowhead's a tough place to play in.
Yeah, and Atlanta.
But what about if they play Cincinnati in the divisional round? Cincinnati could have won that game.
I don't think they can. Well, how close are their records? So, Cincinnati is 12-4. So you see the issue here is that even if Buffalo. Oh no, that would make sense. No, wait. If Buffalo beat Cincinnati, Cincinnati would have been 12-5. If Cincinnati beat Buffalo, Cincinnati would have been 13-3 or 13-4. So, right?
Yeah.
So Buffalo would have still.
What did Buffalo? They lost.
Bit ahead of Cincinnati.
They only
because
lost
they're a game apart right now.
Right, they can meet second round. What Lopez said, but it's going to be in Buffalo. But I didn't see the records. I didn't pay. If it ain't my team, I'm just. It is what it is. I wasn't too involved, but I called my buddy about it, and he said he didn't say anything about it being played in Atlanta for Bills Chiefs, and then said Cincinnati, had they won, would have had that as a home game because they beat the Bills. But
yeah, the report I'm reading right now doesn't say anything about Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati.
If they both win, if Cincinnati beats Ravens and the Bills beat the Dolphins, then they're going to play next round.
Yeah, but they're in different brackets, right? How do you see the fucking brackets for this thing? NFL. Well, the only reason I brought up sports is because somebody said they came in here to see us talk sports. So
yeah, we're the professional experts here on sports, as you can tell.
I do watch more sports than
I should. I do too, but obviously I don't. I talked to my buddy today, and I didn't have all the information because.
Well, that's what you were saying, and I'm like, dude, I swear.
I called him. I said, "How you doing? Why aren't they playing that game? Does that affect you guys?" And he's like, "No, they picked the lesser of two evils." And
Buffalo and Cincinnati could meet in the second round. Yeah, so Cincinnati plays Baltimore. They should win that one. Buffalo plays Miami. They should win that one because Baltimore, I don't think, has Lamar. Fuck's his name? Jackson.
Jackson.
And then Kansas City's so whoever wins in the Chargers Jacksonville game goes to Kansas City. Kansas City should beat either one of those teams.
Well, think about it though. The Bills have to play probably Cincinnati and the Chiefs as the Cincinnati reverse of that. So by the Bills not getting the first round bye, they have the better playing team they have to meet in round 2. Right? So whereas the Chiefs get the Jaguars, could be an easier deal there. So the whole thing, I wish they would have played a game. I'm glad he didn't, Lamar or what's his name? Hamlin didn't die. That was crazy, but I think they should have got that game in, but I guess this is the next best option.
So your pick for the AFC to head to the Super Bowl, Chiefs or Bills or Cincinnati?
Dolphins.
I don't think that's going to happen, bro.
Never know.
So Dolphins are your firm. I like the Dolphins. So before the Cardinals came to Arizona, I was actually a Dolphins fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
who was on the Dolphins that you liked?
I don't remember, dude. I was a baby, but I just remember.
Oh, Marino. Marino.
Yeah, of course. But I just remember having like Dolphins gear that my dad bought me. I don't know why my dad was into the Dolphins, but I remember having Dolphins gear. So I wasn't that huge into it to know, like, because they came here, the Cardinals came here in 88, 89.
Yeah.
I was 4.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so I don't remember anything about the Dolphins. All I remember is that I had Dolphins clothes. Like a windbreaker. I remember a windbreaker. I remember the fucking jersey for I don't remember who it was. And then the Cardinals came and that kind of went all out the window. My dad was like, we're Cardinals fans now. And I've been ever since. But my uncle, when I was 2, bought me a Dallas Cowboys jersey. And you can see me. I have a picture of me throwing it, like with it on the ground, walking on it.
Nice.
And I was 2. And then, so everybody in Arizona was either a Cowboys fan or a Niners fan, and I can't stand either of those teams.
Yeah. I didn't mind the Cowboys or the 49ers, but I did not like the Cowboys.
So you're saying Miami all the way to the AFC?
No, I got enough friends who are Bills fans, and I got to root for the closest team for me. And then I'm going to root for the Eagles on the other side since they're a Pennsylvania team. So. But I really don't have a dog in the fight or a horse in the race or an ass in the toilet seat or whatever you want to call it.
So you're thinking Buffalo all the way to the AFC. I want Buffalo or Cincinnati to go to the Super Bowl. If it's one of those two teams, I'll be fine. Because I like Josh Allen and I like Joe Cool. What's his name?
Joseph Burrows.
Yeah. Hey, baby, I'm going to call.
My dog, your daughter comes in. My dog just barked in my ear.
I thought I locked that fucking door. Like, I'm a little pissed.
Why I don't? This dog come down and barked in my ear. I thought I went deaf. I could.
Okay, so if not Philly, okay. So I know you're saying Philly, and they seem like a pretty logical choice. But if not Philly on the NFC, who do you think gets to the Super Bowl? Do you think it's San Fran with a third string quarterback? Do you think it's like Seattle with Mr. Geno Smith?
I'm not Seattle, possibly the Vikings, maybe San Fran. I wouldn't mind. That's a good story with the Brock Purdy. Brock's the only rookie quarterback to beat Tom Brady. So it'd be pretty
Tom
cool
Brady's also decrepit practically now. So
he's in the playoffs. Anything can happen.
Yeah, by the skin of his fucking teeth.
That's all that matters, man. The Steelers were the 6th seed and went all the way to the Super Bowl. It can happen.
What are they? The AFC East? Is that what he's in? He has what? The Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers?
Yeah, all reputable teams.
No. I think between the three of those teams, they won 6 games or something.
Yeah, They were supposed to change the playoffs to put in, your top 2 or 4 teams, and the rest should have been based on record, not if you win your division. And they still have yet to do that. That's why I guess
I've been an advocate for reseeding for the last 10 years because I think the whole thing is bullshit. I think it's fucking ridiculous that that I'm not seeing any instances now, but there has been instances where somebody's won their division and the wild cards both have better records than the division winner. They should reseed. It should go to whoever, like because that's what basketball essentially does, that right? Because they just have 2, like everybody's in their own, they have Pacific West and all these other divisions, but you have the East and West, right? And everybody falls into a line based on their record. Mm-hmm. And that's how they figure out that. So if you're going to have divisions, fine. So you can have some competition, but do what the NBA does, and person with the best record should be hosting that game.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It should be, no one with a losing record should be in the playoffs.
Oh, with a losing record, that's a totally other.
That's what I mean. Like you should, yeah. So I mean, get out the wild card. Get out the division leaders and go strictly by record. And if you have again, that'll keep out the losing record for the most part. It might be 1 or 2, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, what was it? Just 3 or 4 years ago, they had the AFC. What they call it, the AFC least, and it was Dallas, Giants, Commanders. And Philly is in that division?
Mm-hmm. The East, yeah.
Yeah, and the team that got in had a losing record, right?
Oh, yeah. Which, speaking of the Giants, they shocked me this year. David Jones was a, rookie quarterback who couldn't do anything the last couple of years. He was, still seemed like a rookie. This year he's on fire the last half of the season. I lost my fantasy championship because of him. And so now I'm ticked off.
Yeah, I don't have much hope for the Giants, Tampa Bay, or Seattle. Or Dallas, because Dallas just, even if Dallas looks like world beaters, they find a way to lose in that first round every year.
Yeah.
But San Francisco and Philly, I think, are the only 2 teams that have a legitimate chance. I think Minnesota's a fluke.
I don't know about that.
Oh, Minnesota, dude, Kirk Cousins can find a way to fuck that up.
I like Kirk.
I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know, man.
Never know.
They just don't. They're winning games. Good for them, but they just don't pass the smell test to me, man. I don't know what it is about them. And then Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati, I think all have realistic chances, but I think Cincinnati's on the outside looking in as far as those 3 teams are concerned.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of Cincinnati because I'm a Pittsburgh guy. Buffalo and the Chiefs have been the 2 top teams as of the last couple of years. There's probably no one that can rival them in the NFC. I'm surprised that last year the Rams were able to beat Cincinnati as a team that I thought had some firepower.
Well, they had the worst offensive line in one of the worst offensive lines in the league, and they couldn't protect Joe Burrow. That was their whole issue. The Rams had one of the best defenses in the league. Cincinnati had one of the worst offensive lines, That's the reason the Rams won that game. Did I lose you? But
I'm still here. Sorry about that.
No, you're all good. But that's the reason the Rams, like, as soon as Cincinnati got to that Super Bowl, I was rooting for Cincinnati hard because I hate anything from LA. Being an Arizona fan, I mean, LA and Arizona. Well, Arizona hates LA. LA could fucking care less about Arizona, but
right, it's like Penn State and Pitt.
Yeah. But Lakers can fucking burn up in a ball of flames for all I care. I don't fucking. But I hope so. I know you don't like Cincinnati because of the Steelers Bengals rivalry, but I mean, I always try to root for the team that's never won it before because my team's never won it before. So I mean, Buffalo doesn't have, because they had those years they went to the Super Bowl with Jim Kelly, right?
4 years
they never won one.
No.
So I mean, Cincinnati and Buffalo, to me, those are my picks. I want one of those two teams to win it all. And on the NFC side, I would like
never won one.
I would like Minnesota to win. I just don't think they will. Does that make sense? They don't pass a smell test for me, but out of all those teams, I want them to win. Something in me, though, thinks that if the NFL has their way, Tom Brady and San Francisco are going to meet in the NFC Championship, and they have two great storylines right there. Tom Brady wins his last one, rides off into the sunset, or they got the rookie QB that beat Tom Brady. I mean, there's storylines there.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, it'd be nice to see Burrow and Allen meet again. But that Chiefs-Bills game last year was crazy, so they probably want something like that again in the championship game. So I think either of those three teams could make that championship game one to remember. And if Tom Brady makes it to the Super Bowl again, good story. San Fran, I'm not a fan of them because if they win their sixth, they tie the Steelers. But since San Francisco didn't win their against the Ravens a couple years back, Tom Brady already got his sixth with the Patriots. So now it doesn't matter. Their Steelers already been tied, so that's out the door. So
yeah. Even though you guys shouldn't have won that one against Arizona, but whatever.
Yeah, right.
His foot never touched the fucking ground. His foot never touched the fucking ground. His foot never touched the fucking ground. There's photographic evidence.
Yeah, just like they say the Immaculate Reception, it hit the ground. It did not. It was all
his foot never touched the fucking ground.
He had three guys on him and he still caught it.
You've got six, and I'm calling bullshit on one, and you're like, nope.
That was the one
never touched the fucking ground. Dude. Officials in the NFL have even said his foot never touched the fucking ground.
Who did you talk to?
Huh?
Who did you hear? I didn't hear. I'd never heard that.
For 3 years after that game, dude, that was a big topic. His foot never touched the fucking ground.
I heard the same shit after the whine from the Seattle Seahawks after they won, and I forget what their reasoning was then. It was so long ago now. At this point, there was a couple issues with that game, a couple calls that weren't called and made that game go Steelers' way. But I did not hear that foot did not touch. I mean,
there's photographic.
I just watched it, and his foot was on the ground. I saw it.
No, it was not.
I just saw it. They had Ben's top 10, top 50 plays, and that was number one. That was the drive. You take out Elway's drive from 1993 or wherever the hell that was, and you put in that drive. It was 1st and 20. They got an offsides penalty or a holding penalty on the first play, and it was 1st and 20 at like the 10 or the 5, and they drove 90 or 95 yards to hit that in the corner end zone with that throw. I mean, that was one of the greatest drives in football history.
His foot never touched the fucking ground.
Look, they're both there.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not both.
Put that one right up there. Someone moved someone's computer enhanced.
No, dude, that is
I just watched
everywhere.
It. They're both there, right?
Never
that one
touched the fucking ground.
They had three officials there and looked at it for.
Yeah, his foot never touched the ground. Never.
Well, maybe Kurt Warner shouldn't have thrown that last interception to James Harrison or got sacked at the end there.
Yeah, it never touched the fucking ground. Look at this. Look, what I was just looking at. 10 years after Super Bowl XL3 catch, many still doubt.
Many still doubt. They all live in Arizona.
No, dude, I'm telling
Yes,
you,
they
but
do.
never. It was a huge thing on what was that show that Mike and Mike. It was a huge topic on Mike and Mike for like 6 months after that game ended.
I listen to Mike and Mike every day, and I don't remember much the day after that game, but I listen to them. I don't remember one damn part of that. I have to say, I did not think that to be an issue. I think you made it up. And I think you computer enhanced those pictures.
No. All I did was Santonio's Holmes' foot never touched the ground and hit Google Images.
Yeah, the images that put in Santonio Holmes, historic catch, and I'll show both feet on the ground.
Speaking of Arizona, because that's in the past, we can't.
There you go, right there. He was pushed. There you go. That just answers your question.
Fucking shit.
There it is.
So
number 6.
Who gave you control of the chat? Just kidding. But the good news is that the betting odds for Arizona Cardinals' next head coach have hit, and Arizona Cardinals are in the lead to land Sean Payton, which would be fucking huge.
Does he want to come back?
He does. He's meeting with the Broncos on Tuesday, and then Arizona, and the other team he's meeting with is Houston. Which, when I look at all those teams, I mean, Russell Wilson's on the decline. Houston. Oh yeah. Houston has a lot of benefits for him, but he has come out and outwardly said how Kyler Murray is one of his favorite quarterbacks of all time. So I think that's what's going to be the draw. And he used to be a St. Louis Cardinals football team, used to be a ball boy, worked for them all through high school. He has a relationship with the Bidwell. So they're saying Sean Payton to the Arizona Cardinals is a legit possibility. And if that's the case, I mean,
bets are off.
I think he's the perfect fit,
and I think that lines up with time-wise with the Steelers as they'll rise up to the AFC Championship. We'll meet again at the Super Bowl, and it will be another catch just like that, and it'll go our way again. And you guys for 10 years can cry about it.
There have been years that, because that's one of the most watched Super Bowls of all time, the Arizona Pittsburgh game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times when both the Pittsburgh and Arizona seemed, especially in Bruce Arians, when Bruce Arians was the coach here, that both of them seemed on a collision course, and it almost feels as if the NFL wants that again. To see Pittsburgh, who has more Super Bowl wins as a team than any other team, and Arizona, the oldest team in the league, it just writes itself, right? It's never won anything. So,
but we were calling Arizona was Wannstedt the coach back and against the Steelers in the Super Bowl, right? He was the coach.
What?
Dave Wannstedt, wasn't it? Or not Wannstedt?
No, Wisenhunt.
Wisenhunt. So it was. We called it Pittsburgh West because everyone that went over there, like Russ Grimm, I think, was there. And
yeah. So for when you guys got Tomlin, it was between Wisenhunt and Tomlin. And then when Tomlin was picked, Wisenhunt came over to Arizona, brought a bunch of his people over. And then even when Arians came over here, it was kind of had that Pittsburgh feel. He pulled a lot of people over, and I mean, for a long time we were getting Pittsburgh retreads like their players.
Yeah, and I wish
right now we have the running back,
James Conner.
Yeah, which I love.
I met James him years ago. Met him years ago. We were there at a Make-A-Wish event. He spoke. He was just about to go into college in the pit, and then he got sick like a year later.
Oh yeah, he had what was it, like bone marrow cancer or something?
Leukemia.
Yeah.
So we had just met him, and then he got sick because we were there for a Make-A-Wish event. So,
yeah, I like James Conner a lot. He just seems like a awesome guy. And when we've had fucking disasters at running back, it's nice to have James Conner. I mean, the last one that I was like in love with was the one we had in the Super Bowl, James. Edgerrin James.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But since then it's just been fucking dud after dud after dud after dud.
And I can't believe the Steelers got rid of him or let him go because I liked watching.
He's a good teammate. So, but well, let's get pass. We have a few weeks of NFL football, and maybe you'll hear JP and I talk about the games this weekend, next week's. But let's start.
This is the new Mike and Mike show, right? We're gonna take over Mike and Mike now.
So let's get into our show tonight. Let me see here. We're going to share. There we go. So, first thing, you like the new logos I made? What do you think of that?
They're fabulous.
Fabulous.
They're fabulous.
First thing we have is, while the world is still trying to get over Henry Cavill's exit as Superman from the DCU, a new rumor suggests that Euphoria star Jacob Elordi is in the running to take on the cape of Kal-El. With the announcement of Henry Cavill leaving the DCU, James Gunn also clarified that it is still of great importance to have the character included within the DCEU. James Gunn came out afterwards and said, "My thoughts are no one has been cast as Superman yet. Casting, as is almost always the case with me, will happen after the script is finished or close to finish, and it isn't. We'll announce a few things in not too long, but the casting of Superman won't be one of them." I think that he may be on the short list as somebody that they're interested in talking to. I don't really like his look. Like, I don't know. What do you feel about him? I don't know him from really anything except my wife has watched some. I think he's in like the Kissing Booth on Netflix. I don't know. My wife has watched those, but
yeah, I haven't watched any of those. I don't. A lot of the names they've been putting out there for Superman are not people I know who they are. So I didn't know Henry Cavill either. So yeah, I think if James Gunn's going to pick it, I'm going to be fine with it. I heard they're going to go younger in a younger storyline, but then I recently read that they're going to go with possibly the Kingdom Come storyline, and I think that's an older Superman, I believe, from what I just got it in that pack I bought from the online auction. It came in that pack too.
Kingdom Come's great, but he's come out and said it's going to be younger. That's why they kind of passed on Henry Cavill. If they did do Kingdom Come, Henry Cavill would have been awesome.
Yeah, doesn't a Superman have like gray hair or something in this one? When I saw
he's older, but it's like an alternate universe one, so it's not in the main Earth. Kingdom Come. So Brandon Routh played the Kingdom Come version of Superman in the Crisis on Infinite Earths
on WB
CW crossover. Yeah, which was pretty fucking awesome. So he kind of got his retribution to play the Superman that he should have played. Cool. Yeah, because he that movie sucks, but he looks awesome as Superman.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I think they can do something with the Flash movie and do some alternate timeline and do this Kingdom Come potentially, but I don't think that lines up with what I've heard with the younger version. So who knows? I'm interested to see whatever James Gunn's going to put together. And I
have a feeling James Gunn likes to do weird shit. And I would not be surprised if in the future we could get something like that. Maybe some big screen Crisis on Infinite Earths type thing. And, and get a few. They're going to want to do the No Way Home thing. I mean, they had so much success with No Way Home that they're going to find a way to get Michael Keaton and Brandon Routh and Henry Cavill and all these people on the same team or on the same screen.
The longer they wait, the less chance you have of. I mean, Keaton's he's not as old as Harrison Ford, but it may not.
Yeah. Funny story about Kevin Spacey. As here it says, Kevin Spacey is no Gene Hackman. So I watched the documentary on the death of Superman Lives, the movie that Kevin Smith wrote and was going to be directed by Tim Burton. And apparently in that movie, their number one pick to play Lex Luthor was Kevin Spacey, who went on to play Lex Luthor in Superman Returns. And I found it to be a really interesting documentary because for a long time I said Nick Cage looks fucking stupid as Superman. But when they showed some of these other images, I was like, dude, I could get behind that.
With the mullet?
So the mullet was something they were. So you remember at that time, Superman in the comics had long hair.
Yep.
And I think that's a look they were going to. But what they did is he was at a costume fitting, like testing the costume in a hotel room. And they just got a really bad picture of him. Right. But they have some official images that they took for like promotion. And he looked pretty good. But
I don't know. I don't think the look of Christopher Reeves and then Nick Cage, I don't think the two are.
Well, they were trying to go for something. I mean, Superman Lives was going to be the dark route that Batman eventually took before Batman became a thing, you know? So, I mean, it shows a lot of still images. Like Brainiac was like on a giant spider body. It was weird.
Really?
Yeah, some of the imagery, but very Tim Burton-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But they had oh fuck, wait, in Superman, the death of Superman, who is it that kills him? What the fuck is his name?
Oh, Doomsday.
Doomsday was going to be covered in a faces all over that changed the faces. Like he had faces on his arm and everything, and they would change while he was fighting Superman. Like one of the faces would change into Lois Lane, and one of them would change into Martha, and one of them would change into Pa Kent and stuff while he was fighting him. And I thought that was an interesting idea. It sounded like they were going to completely just fucking go away from the comic books and just go off the deep end. But
I don't think it ever works well when they do that, when they go off the script of comics. But
yeah, but I think when you go see a Tim Burton movie, you're going to see a Tim Burton movie.
Right.
And anyone should expect that. I mean, because remember when he came out with Batman, how different Batman was from everything else people knew of Batman prior to that.
The first one was kind of a mix. The second one went way off the rails with the way DeVito looked. But I thought that first one was a nice dark look, almost Dark Knight-ish. Not that I read it back then.
How DeVito as the Penguin?
I didn't like how his face always looked like he was having like black jello coming out of his mouth all the time. I love Danny DeVito, but I thought that was off-putting back then. It was just weird.
To me, that is the best looking Penguin. Like I didn't like the Colin Farrell Penguin because he's just a dude.
Yeah, he looked. I mean, who's going to be called a penguin in the mafia? I mean, that's kind of it's usually Johnny No Neck or Vinny Bag of Donuts. It's not the Penguin, right?
Yeah, just Danny DeVito as the Penguin. I mean, that just was fucking.
Well,
it just looked beautiful.
Then Arnold Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze. I mean,
that's Schumacher. So
right, I know.
That shit
aside. It was fucked up. That was fucked up. So was I thought DeVito was fine as it, but I would have rather seen something a little less horrific in Batman. I don't think it wasn't like Clayface or something where the Penguin was a normal Burgess Meredith. Just I think he was the best Penguin, in my opinion. Just a short guy with a hat on and a Monopoly looking glasses. That was the way to do it. Not some guy with scissor hands or something and
penguin
jello
hands
in his mouth. Yeah.
Dude, I love Danny DeVito. Well, that Danny DeVito's portrayal kind of spawned the whole way he kind of looked in the animated series. Like it changed the definition of that character for decades.
Yeah, I mean, I put it this way, I didn't love it, but that wasn't my biggest problem with that. The whole episode, the Batman Returns was good overall. I didn't hate that show.
Compared to what the 3 movies we got after.
Yeah, so I mean, I preferred Danny DeVito being just less creepy, less weird.
Well, that's Tim Burton. I mean, that right there. I mean, he had a Tim Burton it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I will say about the Schumacher things is I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Like, I thought that was really good casting. Everything else about those movies could fucking go down the fucking pooper.
Keep in mind, or my thoughts on this. Jack Nicholson. Which one is it? Nicholson. Jack
Nicklaus is the golfer.
Right, I know. One, I always get them mixed up because I can never remember off the top of my head. The Lakers fan guy
yeah,
he was a great Joker, sadistic, crazy. Heath Ledger was a great Joker, sadistic, and even crazier. The Penguin was from DeVito was just off-kilt, weird, whatever, but it fit Tim Burton. The Riddler and the newest Batman were completely off.
Completely. You can't even find similarities between the two of them.
So the tone of the first Batman and the second one were similar. When you go into Batman 3, whatever the name of that was, Batman
Forever, I think.
Batman Forever, the Riddler could have been so much darker, like they made him in this recent movie to compare to the Joker, but they made him just eclectic, I guess is the word they made him look in that one, and it was fun. Jim Carrey was great as it, but I
yeah, I didn't like his suit with the question marks all over the green leotard.
I mean, it was more like the 60s model version, right?
For a multi-million-dollar movie, they could have done. I mean, and he had the fucking his hair was like that country singer from the Dixie Chicks. It was kind of like flopped up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was just, but the suit with you would think for a multi-million-dollar movie they could have spent a little bit more time on the suits. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I didn't like his version of that character. It seems like they spent a lot of money on that suit.
Well, they didn't have much left over after the nipples. So that's why they couldn't help out the Riddler, but they must have had enough from the studio for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right, let's get into our next headline. So the Flash.
Who's that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I tried to find the craziest picture of him. Good Lord. Last May, the Flash star Ezra Miller, who uses they, them pronoun, I don't know why I had to read that, but was charged after allegedly stealing liquor from the house of one of their neighbors in Vermont. Deadline is reporting that the actor's plea for a reduced sentence of trespassing was accepted today, meaning he will only need to pay a $500 fine. Superior Court Judge Carrie A. McDonald, Katie, told the actor, "You'll be on administrative probation for 1 year for the unlawful trespass that you will be pleading guilty to. If you complete that probation successfully and the probation is closed and discharged, count 1 will remain dismissed. However, if there is a violation of probation that was filled that a court found probable cause for, the state could refile the count 1 burglary." So it sounds like this dude, he did a lot of awful shit. I mean, apparently he was sex trafficking kids and like doing really awful shit. The fact that he may only get off with a trespassing charge, to me, kind of speaks of privilege a little bit. Because I think if anybody else, if their name wasn't in the news, did the same things, they would be going to prison for a long time. But it just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, if he had what you're saying, because of the background he had prior, that this would have just been the icing on the cake or the straw that broke the camel's back to get him in jail. Is that what you're saying? Because this charge alone isn't enough for that.
Well, I mean, he broke into someone's house. He broke into someone's house, stole alcohol. He broke into somebody's hotel room and assaulted 2 people. There was something with a mother and a child that he had living in his house that he was being suspected of trafficking.
Right. All that this alone is just the extra one that puts him in jail. Should put him in jail.
Well, I think those things should put him in jail, but it sounds like because he had 3 or 4 charges dropped and only is being charged to this one because he had the other ones to eat. So his plea agreement. But I would say if you or I did those things, we'd be going to prison for a long time. If we did all the things that he did, we would be in prison for at least a decade.
Oh, yeah.
This dude, because of his name and his money, is able to get off with a $500 fine and a year of probation for the awful things that he did. And I just think it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to buy your way through the justice system is the point I'm trying to make.
How much money does he have compared to other actors who don't do this kind of shit? So it doesn't give him any right because he got money, and he should be. I hope they get rid of him after this Flash movie and he goes away.
I do. Even though his new suit here I like a lot better than the fucking Power Rangers thing he had going on in Justice League. But yeah, whatever.
I'm looking for that one, but it's unfortunate that somebody who's done so many wrongs are going to keep making that movie, and they shut down the Catwoman movie or the Batwoman movie, and makes no sense.
Yeah. All right, next bit of news. The Walking Dead may have ended, but AMC isn't going to let their zombie franchise shamble off into the sunset that easily. Today, the cable channel has confirmed several premiere windows for those planned spinoffs, along with confirmation that Fear the Walking Dead is going to conclude with its 8th season. That will be split into 2 parts, with 6 episodes airing across May and June, and the final 6 scheduled for a currently unconfirmed slot later in 2023. And then for the other 2 shows, The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon is supposed to come out in 2023, and the Michonne and Rick series that I could not find a title for to save my life is supposed to debut in 2024. So I just put untitled because I was tired of searching for it. So
You're too busy finding Santonio Holmes and his.
Fuck you.
That's why I have time for it.
So Matt and Kyle, they're both huge Walking Dead fans. I lost interest in the show a long time ago. I think I was obsessed with it for maybe the first 4 seasons. Then it just seemed the same shit over and over again. And I just got bored with it, essentially. Are you a Walking Dead fan?
No, I got a buddy who was a huge Walking Dead fan, but his interest lasted a season or 2. Then he was out of it. And I watched, I think, the first episode, and my wife was like, I'm not watching zombies. And so kind of died there.
Yeah, I completely lost it. Negan comes in. This is Negan here. He kills 2 of the actors. I think I watched for maybe that season till the end. And then just completely just dropped off. I don't know what season that was. Even though I think Lauren Conrad, who is this woman right here, Maggie, is the most beautiful woman on the planet.
I don't even know how to look her up.
She's from Supernatural, so she's gorgeous. She reminds me of the girl from My Girl. Do you remember My Girl?
Yep. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I thought they were the same person, and they are not the same person. But all right, so some Walking Dead news. Next, we've got Rick and Morty. Entertainment Weekly via TuneNATO.com is reporting that Justin Roiland, the lead star and co-creator of Adult Swim's hit animated series Rick and Morty, is facing felony domestic violence charges after a 2020 incident in Orange County, California. The criminal complaint was originally filed in May 2020, and the 42-year-old was charged with 1 felony count of domestic battery with corporal injury and 1 felony count of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, and or deceit. The alleged victim's identity has not been revealed, though the Jane Doe was reporting dating Roiland at the time. Roiland, who lends his voice to Rick Sanchez and Morty Smith, among other characters, pleaded not guilty back in 2020 and appeared in court yesterday after a pretrial hearing. Hence why this news has only just started doing the rounds online. Rick and Morty, I don't watch it. Do you watch it?
No, I know who they are, but I've never watched it, so I'm no help on this one.
Yeah, I don't watch it, but I know people of my sister's generation, and my sister is 24, are fucking obsessed with this show. Obsessed. This may put a damper on any future installments to Rick and Morty. I have seen clips of it, and it looks very funny. It's just I don't. Out of all the things I watch, this is at the bottom of the barrel for things to watch. But
yeah,
I don't understand, dude. Like, why can't these people keep their hands off other people? Like, I don't fucking get it.
I don't know. I mean, if it's someone provoked you and you had a bad day and you went after it, but I mean, if you're just it's.
But my significant other, like my wife, like if I'm pissed, I'm leaving the house.
Well, wasn't there? Yeah, exactly.
Like, why can't people just fucking leave the house, man?
We was talking about last week with Dana White. Didn't he just have a slap battle?
Was it Dana White?
Dana White and his wife or someone, where they had a slap battle or something, and they said keep it between us.
I don't think I was in that conversation. I don't know.
I remember Matt and I talking about that last week, and it's yeah, you shouldn't be hitting anyone in your house. But I'm saying if these people make mistakes whenever it's they get pushed to the limits, but not in your own house. But
it's just crazy to me. Like, I understand being at a bar, you got a little bit of alcohol in you, and somebody says something smart, you fucking get in a bar fight or some bullshit, or you're, defending yourself on the streets or whatever. But when you're in your house, like, this shit's gonna blow up in your face. Fucking leave, right? If you're angry, leave. I just don't get it, man. And maybe it's because I've never had that instinct to fucking hit my wife, that it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I get you.
But how many stories do we need to hear like this before people fucking start to learn that just leaving the house or going to your room and counting to 10 or whatever, like, oh, fucking
where if you live where it's cold, it's hard to just leave your house. So you got to have 5 bedrooms or a garage you go with your studio.
Yeah, right. To. Oh yeah, I was gonna put that in there, but it was so Styx just brought up this. Michael Bay is being investigated for killing a pigeon on his Netflix movie Underground 6, I think it's called. in Italy, which is against the law to kill animals, I guess. Even though Italy like butchers cows for food, and I don't fucking get it. But pigeons are a protected species in Italy, and he's being charged with killing this bird. And they said, "Hey, man, just plead guilty to it. Well, you pay the fine and call it a day." And he's like, "I'm not fucking," because he's a big animal advocate. He's like, "I'm not paying anything because that's admitting guilt, and I didn't do anything." But I just thought it was so stupid that I didn't put a slide in here for it. And then I'm not sure if that. Oh, last story.
I got to jump real quick. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Go with this one because this is what.
All right. So the last, I think this is the last story of the night. Angela Bassett won the Golden Globe Award Tuesday for her performance as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, making the 64-year-old the first actor ever to win a major individual acting award for a movie based on Marvel Comics. The evening marked Bassett's second win and second nomination at the Globe, so she's batting 100. She took home the trophy for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy for 1993's Tina Turner biopic, What Love's Got to Do with It. Honestly, like, I like that movie. I know you didn't care for that movie that much. But of all the things in that movie, to me, she's the most forgettable.
Correct.
So her winning the Golden Globe, is this just pandering, or is this because Chadwick Boseman didn't win Best Actor posthumously, however you say that word, for Black Panther? Is this just retribution for that? Like,
could be. I mean, I thought she did a great job in the movie
oh,
itself.
Yeah.
All that, but I did not think it was, Golden Globe. I mean, it's not an Emmy, or what's the other one? The
Oscar.
It's a Golden Globe. I don't know if there's a difference. I've never won one of them, so I can't.
One is from the foreign press, I think they call it. The other one's from the Screen Actors Guild. I think that's really the only difference. But
and that was part of what I was, getting at for talking about later, or I don't know if this is a good time to bring it up, but there's been other actors and actresses, or let's just say actors.
Oh, they will get to that. I have a special segment for you at the end where you can.
But but I just didn't think it. Yeah, I think you're right. It was a forgettable role. I don't think anybody in there should have won a Best Actor award in that movie. And didn't Black Panther, the first one, win an award itself?
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Picture, but it won, like, they made a new segment for Best. It was like Best Movie.
Best Nerd Movie or something,
or audiences or something like that. It was Best like big budget movie or something. I just want to read off some of the other people that were nominated for this award that Angela Bassett beat out. Let me go down here real quick to 2022. So Angela Bassett for Black Panther, then Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Dolly De Leon for Triangle of Sadness, and Carey Mulligan for She Said. The only other one I've seen on this is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I watched it last night, actually.
Yeah,
and that movie's fucking awesome. I bought it on Blu-ray on Black Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, for $7. But I think you can watch it on HBO Max if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I'm gonna check that. So
yeah, but it's worth renting. That movie's fucking awesome.
I definitely want to see that.
But
okay, so Angela Bassett should have probably won. Has she ever won a gold? I forget what you said. Her second win, right?
Yeah. So she's been nominated twice. She won both times.
Okay, so all right, it's kind of like the Steelers won 6 and maybe let the Cardinals win 1.
Oh, fuck you!
Right? So Bassett wins 1. There's probably somebody else that could have won 1, but she's a tremendous actress, so she should have won. So well respected. So nothing on. I mean, it wasn't the movie to win an Oscar or a Golden Globe for, in my opinion. Now that was the first Black Panther movie. I mean, there's only really been, in my opinion, 1 or 2 that should have been out of the Marvel universe. I mean, why didn't The Dark Knight win anything?
Dark Knight, Heath Ledger won Best
Bane,
Supporting Actor,
director, all that stuff. And why didn't Boseman win his posthumanist, whatever we say?
Posthumously, I don't know how to say it. Whatever.
Posthumously, whatever it is, he should have won it because Heath did, and Boseman did a great job. So I mean, the movies themselves, I don't think were winners of any awards, but the actors themselves, he should have been the one that won it. Boseman, my opinion.
Yeah, I just look at this movie and I think of all the performances in there. I mean, there's obviously some bad performances, but I thought is it Nikita? What's her name in the
Nokia. No, that's the phone.
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
T'Challa's girlfriend, mother of
Baby
his child.
Mama. Yeah.
I liked her a lot more than Angela Bassett in this movie.
I mean, Angela Bassett, any movie she's in is I'm happy.
Oh, she's a fantastic actress,
but
and I'm
again,
not trying
right.
to.
No. But I'm getting you're there. The whole. I just think overall, I didn't like the movie, so I didn't think anyone should have won anything in that movie. I didn't think any Marvel movie this whole year should have won anything. So
no.
You know,
but this marks her. She's the first actress to ever win a major award for a Marvel movie, and I'm looking back at everything. Every other movie that's come, at every other movie that's came out in the Marvel universe. And this, to me, as much as I liked Wakanda Forever, this to me wasn't the one.
Right.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. in Endgame was phenomenal. And we'll get into more of that later.
Yep.
But there's a lot of other ones, and we'll talk more about it. But did you say you had to jump up for something?
Just for a minute. I got to run out for a minute. Can you cover the thing for a minute?
I think so.
All right, I'll be right back.
Oh, next is a trailer reaction. But I'd like to go ahead. I'd like to hear from you guys what you guys think about Angela Bassett winning the Golden Globe. If there was somebody else that you thought was maybe more deserving. In my opinion, I think Jamie Lee Curtis should have won because Everything Everywhere All at Once was fucking awesome. I watched it last night and I was on the edge of my seat. I don't know why it took me so long to watch. But yeah. I don't know. Does anybody else? And we still have the fucking thing up here. Anybody else have any ideas as far as this goes? She was up against let's see, I just had that pulled up here. She was up against Jamie Lee Curtis, Carey Mulligan, and two other actresses I've never heard of before. Jamie Lee Curtis was the only one that I could have any sort of opinion on because that's the only one of these movies I had seen. So it was let's see here. Yeah, it was the actress from the Inisheim movie or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, but the Golden Globes, so Joe's Doolin says it's the Golden Globes, not an Oscar. The Golden Globe still has quite a bit of respect put on it. I mean, the Oscars are the big one. But the Oscars are because you're voted into these by your peers, right? Because it's the Screen Actors Guild Awards. This is the press, right? So
sorry about that.
No, you're all good. So the Screen Actors and the Oscars vote for Oscars. The press votes for Golden Globes. So this isn't just a jury of your peers. So they offer different things, but the Golden Globes is still incredibly respected. All right, so Stick says, okay, I mean, her part was good and she did it great. She had a bigger part than originally scripted, I'm sure, after Boseman passing, so she deserves it. I can't argue with you there because, like I said, the only other one in that I've seen anything was Jamie Lee Curtis. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was fucking awesome in that movie, but she's not in it as much as Angela Bassett is in Black Panther. So maybe that you get more of Angela Bassett in Black Panther, but I don't know. All right. The next thing we're going to look at is, so Ant-Man released a new trailer this last week, and we are going to watch that now. And I'm going to pause it periodically so we don't get some sort of fucking copyright strike on this. But there's a couple of little things in there that I wanted to point out. So let's get that started. Is the sound sharing?
No.
share screen, window. Oh, here we go. Share this, share system audio, share. Is that working?
Yep.
I used to ask myself a lot of questions. Scott, you're at ex-con. How are you an Avenger?
Oops.
That doesn't make sense. But everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
People still need help, Dad.
That's why we made this.
It's like a satellite for deep space, but quantum.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm. Turn it off. Now.
Is it jarring to you that that's a different actress playing?
No.
No?
No, I don't think it wasn't a cool move to do that. They should have kept the same one. But, unfortunately.
I wonder why they did that. I wonder, so like they had Cassie Lang.
Yeah, Cassie.
Yeah. They had Cassie in the other movies, and in Endgame specifically as a different actress. Do you think they didn't have the idea to have her in a starring role when they cast her in Endgame? And maybe that came after the fact and they wanted somebody with a little bit more pedigree, because this girl's been in a lot of shit. And I like this girl. She's from Supernatural. She's from that movie with Vince Vaughn, Freaky, I think it's called. She's been in a lot of things. So she has a bit of more of a pedigree than the other girl, who I don't recognize from anything other than Endgame. Do you think that plays a role in it?
That could have been that. I didn't know. Again, I didn't know the other girl had some pedigree to her that made the difference. Could have been that route, but from what I've seen, that Marvel knows what they're doing out. They put their timeline out, or they put their thoughts on paper, their trajectory. So I don't think it. I don't. Why does DC keep Ezra Miller and they get rid of that girl for nothing and put somebody else in? Right? That doesn't make sense to me. Unless
it's just a shame, because I liked her.
Yeah, I thought. The scene with her seeing her dad again after 5 years showed she was a pretty good actress. So why did she not continue forward? I don't know.
So the girl in Endgame, I'm pretty sure, is roughly the same age as the new actress. So it was Emma Furman was the actress from Endgame, and Catherine Newton is the actress in this new movie. And Emma Furman is 21 and Catherine Newton is 25. So they're pretty close to the same age. So I don't think that plays a role in it. Well, the time jump happened in Endgame. There's no time jump in this. I really think it comes down to acting pedigree or experience.
Yeah, but you got Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, Paul Rudd, and I can't ever, what's her name?
Evangeline Lilly.
Lilly. Who do you need another fifth wheel?
I guess.
Just keep it the same.
I guess, but Catherine Newton has become kind of a hot thing in Hollywood. The name. I'm not trying to say that wasn't a reference on her appearance. Her name has become a hot name in Hollywood because she's been in a lot of things recently, and Freaky was very well received. That maybe they just, if they're going to eventually, because I assume eventually they're going to pass the baton, Ant-Man to Cassie Lang eventually, that maybe they just wanted somebody with a higher stature.
I don't know, because who they picked for America Chavez, I don't know, you might know, but I don't know what she was in prior. And who they picked for Miss Marvel, Marvel Girl, whatever.
But Miss Marvel, I don't think is...
Not that either one of them did a bad job. I'm just saying it didn't... They were not known actors or actresses or that I know of. So
I don't think you're going to ever get an America Chavez starring movie, because she is also a new character in the comic universe too. Because when did she come out?
I thought they were going to do they're looking towards the Young Avengers, so someone will be
Yeah, but I think Catherine Newton and Haley Steinfeld are going to be the main. They're going to be the tent poles for that movie. Kate Bishop and Cassie Lang. Because if you look at everybody else, you got Miss Marvel, you've got the other one that you mentioned. I just had it. Who was it? America Chavez. You've got the two boys from the Doctor Strange thing that are eventually going to come back. And I hope if they recast anybody, it needs to be those two kids. They are awful.
Yeah, I agree.
Awful. Like looking at the camera, like fucking up their line, like awful. And then who else would it be? I think
Scar.
Who?
Isn't there a Hulk in it too?
Oh, Scar from the Hulk's kid. Which I don't even know. The actor's a no-name actor too, I think.
He looked like the guy from SNL.
I thought it was the fucking kid
Beck.
from Twilight for a second.
No, what's
when
his
I
name?
first saw it. Which kid are you talking about?
Who's it on SNL? The guy Beck. Beck Bennett. That's it. Beck Bennett.
Oh, he's older.
I know that, but if you look at his face, it looks like Beck Bennett.
I'll have to look at that later. All right, let's get back into this fucking trailer. Let's see here. Okay, can I just say one thing? Because now that I've seen this a few times, and someone said, is this the first trailer? It is not the first trailer. This is the one that was released last week. So it may have a lot of the same scenes. They're screaming as it gets sucked in that portal. If it was me, would be blood curdling. Like raspy breath, snot coming out of my nose. Like, and you hear Michelle Pfeiffer, ah! Like, no, dude.
But she's already been there.
Yeah, you spent the last 30 years there. You do not want to go back. Make it fucking believable.
Yeah, well, if all 5 of them go in, who's going to get them out?
Right?
Yeah.
Who's your last resort?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, it'd be...
Where are we?
I like the music. So there's other humanoids there. Where the fuck did those people come from?
Those are the Micronauts.
Is that what it is? Do you know that the whole Micronaut thing was what I almost said George Lopez. Lucas, thank you. Totally different people. George Lucas wanted to do with the new trilogy. He wanted to go into the into the Force, like at a microscopic level.
Well, look, here's Micronauts 1. If you can look close, look at that guy with the red eyes, right? Doesn't that kind of look Darth Vader-ish even back then?
Let's see. How do I put it on you? There we go.
I mean, look at that. That's kind of not totally Darth Vader, but I mean, at least that look. So maybe, maybe you're not too far off. Maybe that's what they're all looking at back then.
I have no information about the Micronauts whatsoever.
I just heard about it, so I grabbed it when I saw it. But when I look at it, I thought, wow, this looks kind of Star Wars-ish, another whole universe, right? That they could have gone that route, or, I mean, I got at least some ideas they might have got ideas from Star Wars for that comic series, and then now trickle it down. And George Lucas goes full circle. He wants to go into the microverse. So,
well, that was what he was going to do before Disney bought the rights, which Disney went off in a completely different,
right?
Completely different.
Either
my
way,
wife just walked in.
Both ways sucked.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to this. So the problem is that when they're wearing the suits, I can't tell the difference between Evangeline Lilly and Cassie Lang.
What are you so afraid of?
There's something I never told you.
This place.
So when they're walking out,
It isn't what you think.
you may see a little bit of unseen footage previously. When they're walking out on that big, and I'll show a picture of it. I grabbed a screenshot of it.
And give you more time.
It's like a ledge that they're walking out on.
If you help me. So, what's it gonna be? Ant-Man.
I think this is gonna be awesome. Did I miss that scene or did I pull the wrong trailer?
I don't.
Okay, well, I'll go to the next slide so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So you got MODOK.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You got MODOK, which I don't like the helmet thing that they did. How do you feel about that?
I saw that the comic itself, his first appearance was hot this week or last week, and he's a mechanized organism designed for killing or something, right? And that's what MODOK stands for.
Mm-hmm.
I look at him, I go, what's that fat head going to do to anybody? Like, it doesn't look scary to me. So I wish they would have redone it and made it. He looks goofy as hell. I never saw him as being a mechanized organism designed only for killing. It seems like,
well,
that doesn't.
In that trailer, so he's an actual human. In that trailer, you see it's actually the character that plays Yellow Jacket in the first movie.
That's going to be inside that.
Yeah. Which this to me seems a lot more comic accurate, doesn't it? The image on the left.
Yeah.
So, and that's been a theory for a long. That's been a theory for a long time. That he, and I forget his name for the life of me, but that he was going to become MODOK, because as he's getting sucked into the quantum realm in the first one, the way he's kind of imploding on himself. Imploding on himself, kind of makes it look like his head was kind of the last thing to go a little bit. So
his head's bigger.
Yeah. So, but what I wish they would have done is taken maybe some design elements from the Yellow Jacket suit and made that into his MODOK suit.
But Michelle Pfeiffer got sucked into the quantum realm, as did everybody in this show. Why aren't their heads big too?
Well, if you remember, Michelle Pfeiffer was in the Ant-Man suit that's designed. So that guy, what he did is created basically an internal explosion that sucked him in there. So it was unregulated, it was uncontrolled. But when you're in the suit and you do it, you're in a controlled environment. That's the whole point of the suit. And Hank Pym explains that in the first one. That's why the suit is the way it is, and that's why in Endgame they have to wear pretty much the same suits with that special mask, and like all of it is purposeful, or else that could happen. So
but they all got sucked in without wearing a suit.
And I think it must have something to do with the device, and maybe they explain that because they get sucked in, but they're not imploding on themselves. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of getting sucked in he's getting sucked into the middle of his core, but they're getting sucked into something. I think that's what it is. I don't know. That doesn't really strike me.
We might have to bring Einstein in on this one to find out why his head. I mean, they would explain it. I don't like how he looks either way, either in the comics with a big head and the small hands and body. It doesn't seem like something designed only for killing. So maybe we'll see. It looks stupid to me, but maybe it'll be good in the movie.
My biggest issue with it is that I watched the Patton Oswalt TV show, the claymation or whatever it is TV show, kind of like the Robot Chicken looking show, and they made him so laughable in that show that I don't know if I could ever take this character seriously.
No, I couldn't either. Looking at him on the comic, I was like, I think the comic hit like 5,000 this week, and I'm like, that's going to drop like a rock. He's a goofy looking villain, and he won't last very long. Maybe they'll do better. I mean, I thought that Thor was going to be an awesome show, and that sucked. So maybe at low expectations on this one, and it'll go. Maybe
this one I'm more excited for than.
He may win a Golden Globe for this. We'll see.
Yeah, this one I'm more excited for than some of the. Well, I don't know. I was pretty excited for Doctor Strange, which I still like Doctor Strange, but
I was excited for both of those last year, Strange and Thor, and I'm really excited for this one too, because neither one of the last two met my expectations, but I thought Strange was a better movie.
Yeah,
I'm hoping this one really propels Phase 5 forward.
This one I'm really excited for because out of all those TV shows, Loki was one of my favorites, and this one seems to be expanding on that part of the story a little bit more, because Loki season 2 is supposed to come out, which we'll get into that here in a moment. Loki season 2 is supposed to come out this year, and that to me is one of the more interesting storylines that they've been developing with the whole Kang the Conqueror thing, and this movie seems to be catapulting into that Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty movies.
Yep.
That this seems to be that one that's that linchpin movie, so it has me a little bit more excited than some of the other ones.
I thought the other two would do the same thing, sort of all these little pieces that would fit into this movie and forward. But
well, you gotta think Doctor Strange is going into the multiverse thing, right? Which Kang is part of that multiverse, which I don't understand, because I thought they were doing like a quantum. So is the quantum realm part of the multiverse? Is that part of that storyline? Because they're doing cosmic, they're doing street heroes, and yeah, the multiverse thing. So Doctor Strange did kind of fill that a little bit, but what did Thor do?
nothing. Brought in
The
Hercules, that was it.
the cosmic part.
Yeah, but the cosmic part I thought would bring in Silver Surfer, some more touch on the Guardians, the Hercules, as opposed to 2 minutes at the end.
So the cosmic part is the storyline that they're developing that I'm least interested in, even though Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be a part of that. That's the one I'm least interested in. The one I'm most interested in is this multiverse and the street level heroes, because street level is Deadpool, Spider-Man, Daredevil, all those awesome characters. But the cosmic thing, I'm just not. Well, because with the cosmic, you have Eternals, you have Thor, you have Guardians, and Eternals and Thors were both duds. So the only thing that's been good so far, and Guardians 2 wasn't as good as the first one. So the cosmic thing's kind of been on a downward spiral for a while now.
And they bring in Nova, and they bring in Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four, because they can be cosmic. I think it'll propel the cosmic into the upper levels, we'll say.
Yeah, hopefully, if they find a way to do Fantastic Four well. The most recent thing I saw was Adam Driver is on their top list to become Mr.
Doom.
Fantastic.
Oh, I heard
like
Doom
that.
for him.
I've heard Mr. Fantastic. I don't know. Nobody knows. It's a new actor every week, But I like that a lot better than the dude from Penn Bagley or whatever his name is. I mean, I want John Krasinski, but if they don't get John Krasinski, Adam Driver seems like a good option. I don't know.
I think he's a better Doom, but we'll see.
I think Doom they're gonna have reserved for some big name, like a Denzel or something. Like I think because Doom could potentially be a 10 to 15 movie commitment, and I think they're gonna get some big name attached to that.
We'll see. I thought Driver would be good because of his role in Star Wars. He's okay with the mask on and off, and you need someone who can do both.
Right. But Adam Driver strikes me as the kind of guy that doesn't want to do the same thing twice.
True, but I don't see him as a Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I like it better than Penn Bagley, but I agree. He's not my number one choice. With John Krasinski is my number one choice, and if it's not John Krasinski, who else who would be your next choice?
I couldn't even tell you.
It's a hard role to cast.
It is. He's got to have that nerdy, chiseled look, is what Mr. Fantastic's supposed to look like. Someone who shouldn't have a hot wife like Mrs. Invisible or the Invisible Woman, but does because he's smart, nerdy, but chiseled.
Yeah,
kind of like me.
I like the dude. If they changed his race, I like the dude from The Good Place, the nerdy guy from The Good Place. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's this gentleman right here. I don't know his name.
Oh yeah.
Let's take a look. Adam Bomer would be a good one. But I'm not a big fan of any other ones. This is the dude from Yellowstone. The other one I saw, we talked about it a few weeks ago, was the Tom Ellis from Lucifer, which I thought could have been good. But I don't know.
I think John Hamm's might be the better option there.
John Hamm. So I like John Hamm. But so I watched Fletch, the Fletch movie he did this last week too. And I like John Hamm a lot, but the movie And as much as Chevy Chase is just an awful human being, John Hamm just doesn't seem like an anchor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes. I mean, I don't know. You think he should be, but
Jason Sudeikis would probably be fucking awesome. This gentleman right here.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I mean, Ted Lasso is my everything, so I'm down with anything. So, but yeah, I mean, John Hamm, I love the guy, and I think he's awesome. It's just he just doesn't seem like a huge anchor for me. Fletch was great. It's just I watched the Chevy because I thought it was a continuation of Fletch and Fletch Lives and then Confess Fletch, but apparently it's a full reboot. Like it has nothing to do with those previous movies. It's based on the books. So I watched the first two Chevy Chase movies thinking that this was going to lead, borrow from those. Chevy Chase just seems more he just seems to anchor that movie a lot more. Like he seems like he's a lot more of a draw than John Hamm is as Fletch. But don't get me wrong, I hope to see another Fletch movie. Have you watched that one, JP?
Not with John Hamm. I love the Fletch Lives was my favorite.
Yeah, the first Fletch is better than Fletch Lives.
I saw the first one. I laughed so hard at that scene in Fletch Lives whenever he said his name was Billie Jean King, the exterminator, and he kept making that sound with the cockroach, with the tiny termite, and he drops it in the dude's ear. Yeah, it's just there's a lot of racist shit in Fletch Lives. Like it is. There's some parts like you could tell this movie was made decades ago. There's some parts in that movie that made me cringe a little bit. As far I don't
as
remember that. I've probably been
there's a whole scene. There's a whole scene where he's a plantation owner.
Oh, yeah.
And every black person in that movie that works for him has that typical racist black Southern slave vernacular and accent. Mm-hmm. It's just you can tell that movie could not be made today.
I forgot about that.
There's a point where he does this whole like daydream thing where he's like a colonel owning a plantation. They do the Zippity Doodah song from Song of the South that was canceled.
Oh.
That nobody like Disney won't re-release. So that just shows you kind of how off the rails that movie that gets.
Yeah, I didn't.
But
I liked the first one, but I thought the second one was funner. Just basically a couple pretty hilarious scenes. I think was it Fletch that he went to the doctor, or is that Fletch Lives? He had to get the Moon River whenever he's doing.
Oh, that's the first one.
Okay,
that's the first one. Yeah. The first one he goes through a lot more wardrobe changes. In Confess Fletch with John Hamm, he doesn't go through really any wardrobe changes. Like he doesn't do that master disguise thing, really. I mean, he kind of does it, but not to the extent that Chevy Chase does it.
Yeah, it was Chevy. There's only one Chevy Chase. As much as he's fallen off the wagon himself,
he was a deplorable human being as he is.
He's become, but he was great in just about everything he was in.
So, we got two more things to talk about tonight. The first of which is looking at Marvel's 2023 slate of releases. We were going to do DC. I ran out of time. We're going to save that for next week. So here, and I put them in order. So the first thing coming out is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur for Disney Plus, I'm assuming. One of their cartoons. Now, is this the same character, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur? Is this the same character that has the dinosaur in the Runaways?
I don't know. It's an old dinosaur from, I think, the 70s or 80s. And they brought it back and with this Moon Girl thing. I know
the animation looks fun. I might watch it with my girls or something. We've been watching the old 2001 era Ninja Turtles. My two daughters are obsessed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love it. Next on February 17th, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then in spring, Secret Invasion, which did they not turn this into a movie? Is it still a TV show?
It's a series, yeah.
Is it the Secret Wars that's being turned into a movie?
Secret Wars is the movie after the Kang Dynasty movie.
Okay. Or no, which one's the one with Don Cheadle?
Armor Wars.
Armory Wars. That's
that
being
may
turned
be a
into a
movie.
movie.
Correct.
Okay, but it was going to be a TV show.
That's what Feige told me.
So, then we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on May 5th. What If Season 2 mid-2023, which I could give a rat's fucking ass about this one. And I just went all Marvel. This isn't MCU. So then you got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse June 2nd, which to me feels like that now with No Way Home that they can incorporate any of these storylines into their, MCU kind of loosely. But that's what's coming out before June. Next, we've got Loki Season 2 coming out this summer. I'm super fucking stoked about this one. The Marvels on July 28th. Kraven the Hunter on October 6th. Fuck off. X-Men 97 in fall 2023. Ironheart in late 2023. Agatha Coven of Chaos, which I have a lot of curiosity about this one. Agatha Coven of Chaos. I want to know what they're going to do. And then Echo late 2023. So we got 3 shows coming out in late 2023. But which one are you most looking forward to, JP?
I would say Ant-Man first, Guardians. Those two are probably tied. And then Spider-Verse would be my third choice. And when it comes to shows, definitely Loki is the only, and the X-Men 97. But I'm just kind of curious what that's going to be. If that's going to be just a reboot of the old one or just new storylines.
It's supposed to be a complete continuation. So I think the original X-Men animated series, I haven't watched it in decades, it feels like, but the original one ended on a cliffhanger, right?
I couldn't even tell you. I know it's on Disney and I could watch it, but I kind of look at it this way: is you wanted steak and they gave you a hamburger, right? We want the X-Men. Why do we get a cartoon first? We want the X-Men.
It's coming. I just think they can't contractually do it yet.
But how can they do that? This one, or maybe it's the actors,
because it's not live action. Yeah, it has something to do with the actors. We talked about it a few months ago about
it's the same with the Hulk. The Hulk has the Universal or whoever owns the Hulk. He can't
Paramount.
Be a standalone with Paramount, but he can be in a movie but not standalone. So yeah, it's
apparently I think their rights are running out soon or something like that, so they can make the World War Hulk movie, because that's been talked about for a while now. So some with the contract is ending eventually, where Marvel gets 100% of the rights back.
Yep,
they could do a World War Hulk movie. Let me ask you, in the bottom left hand corner of this Marvel's picture, is that a picture of Ghost Rider?
Let me blow it up. I can't see. It's a Funko Pop, but I don't know which one it is. I think it might. I don't know.
Kind of looks like Ghost Rider-esque.
Yeah, but it could be with the hair. It could be fire. It could be just red hair.
Yeah, something. But I think the ones I'm most looking forward to is Loki, Ant-Man, and Guardians. I think just because X-Men 97. I want to rewatch the original series, which I have every intention of doing. Before I say I'm excited for it. And Across the Spider-Verse, those are just fun, man. But I'm more anxious for the Spider-Man 2 video game to come out than I am Across the Spider-Verse. But I think Across the Spider-Verse, you could maybe get a Tom Holland cameo.
Again, all these hopes and dreams, and then they flop. Right?
Pull the rug out from under you.
Yeah, the Thor and Hercules. I mean, at least you got to see him, but there was no real involvement. Henry Cavill, Black Adam. We'll see. You get your hopes up, and you got Reed Richards or John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness, and then he's killed.
Right. Well, so we got one last segment. It's a brand new segment that I just thought of tonight because JP wants to give his thoughts. It's called JP's Opinion from the Absolute Geek Podcast. So this came out of the Angela Bassett conversation. And JP says, RDJ should have won a Golden Globe for Avengers Endgame. All right.
Does anybody in the chat not agree with me on that one? I mean, if any movie should have won Best Movie, should have been Endgame. If any actor or actress and all of MCU should have won a Golden Globe or an Oscar, it should have been RDJ. I mean, he he was in it the longest. I mean, his whole character arc was fulfilled throughout this movie. He's what do you call it? Revitalized his career because of this. I mean, the whole thing he should get a lifetime award for what he did based on his 10 years in the Marvel universe, and he was Tony Stark. I mean, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. So he's RDJ is going to get his groove back. Nothing against Angela Bassett, and if anyone was going to win it besides RDJ, it should have been Boseman for all the work and effort he put into it and not letting anyone know what was really going on with him at the time. So he should have been winning it posthumously, or whatever we want to call that word.
Well, he hasn't died, so he can't win it.
But I'm saying Boseman should have. Boseman should have. If anybody. Yeah. Why Bassett gets it, RDJ should have got it.
I was like, are you breaking news right now?
No, not yet. No, he should have won it back in Endgame, but then I could have given it to Boseman after what happened to him and all the effort he put in, and he was quiet about what was going on in real life for him. That's kind of crazy. Yeah. But I think of all the people, why Bassett's already won one.
I think it should have been Drax in Wakanda Forever that won the Golden Globe.
Really?
Yeah, Drax.
He wasn't in that. We talking about.
Yes, he was into the whole thing. He's just really good at playing invisible.
Yeah. Invisible Drax.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that I missed something.
Slow, he can't see me. Oh, I'm not. But yeah, man, I agree with you. I mean, to me, Chadwick Boseman and Robert Downey Jr. are top tier as far as the MCU is concerned. I think honestly, let me stop my screen share here. I think honestly that is one of the reasons why the MCU has struggled as of late, is because you lost Chris Evans, RDJ, and Chadwick Boseman, and those three. I mean, Tom Holland seems to be the only actor that people are getting excited about, as far as, because Chris Pratt, as much as I love Chris Pratt, he just doesn't have that same.
What about Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd, yes. No. But even then, Paul Rudd, as much as he's internet's boyfriend and people love him, I think Ryan Reynolds could potentially be that next one. Because Ryan Reynolds is coming back as Deadpool, as we know. I think Ryan Reynolds could be that excitement factor again, but nobody in the MCU. I mean, do you remember Iron Man used to be like, or the Avengers movies, just because of Iron Man and Captain America? Those were like event movies, and I don't feel, and No Way Home kind of had that same feeling, but that hasn't been the case.
Yeah.
Since.
Think about it. An MVP in a season for any sport is someone who propelled that team to whatever they achieved, right? Mm-hmm. MCU achieved what it did because of RDJ.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So if anyone was going to win, it should have been him. But again, they don't give them based on previous work. They give them work for the year. And I didn't think Bassett's role in that movie, I thought it was, and overall was forgettable. The movie itself wasn't top of my list. So to give it this year, I don't see why.
Yeah, I can see your point. I mean, I just feel like that there's very few actors that come out and just seem that. Yes, I agree. Joe Stolen. Paul Rudd is always delightful. I love Paul Rudd. I'll watch anything with. He was the main reason I was so excited for Ghostbusters, because I thought that was genius bringing him in. But Paul Rudd, as much as you love him, and maybe it's just the fact that you had all three of those actors together and now you just have Paul Rudd. You know what I mean? You had Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., and Chadwick Boseman together, and now you just have Paul Rudd and Tom Holland, who have never really crossed paths. Never.
But you watch a Paul Rudd movie just because of Paul Rudd. Hence, that's why Ant-Man can do well.
Yeah, and people are going to go see it because of Paul Rudd. I Love You, Man is one of my favorite comedies of all time. No, I Love You Man is one of my favorite comedies of all time, and it's because of him. Like, I love Jason Segel, but it's because of Paul Rudd that movie is phenomenal.
So I think he can be a good anchor in MCU going forward. They need a couple more.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Reynolds could be that.
He could be. And I look at the Black Panther movie itself. I didn't think anyone was standout in that whole movie, except Nakia might have been, or Namor, however they're going to pronounce it. So, but he's a new to the scene or somewhat new. So I just think overall, if you're going to choose someone who's going to win an award for a show, they have to carry the movie. And RDJ carried just about every movie he was in.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd definitely carries Ant-Man. So now that we're going forward, you need someone to help Rudd out, whether it's Ryan Reynolds or Chris Pratt or maybe Harry Styles. We'll see.
I just don't know, as much as I love Chris Pratt, because it seems like they only bring him into these huge crossover events. I mean, because he wasn't even brought in on really Infinity War. He was off on his own, right? But Endgame was the first one that he crossed paths, if I remember correctly, that he crossed paths with everyone. But they need some more of that interconnection to feel like they're that anchor, right? So I want to see Paul Rudd, Ryan Reynolds, Tom Holland, Chris Pratt. I want to see these guys on the same screen periodically, because how often did you get RDJ and Chris Evans on the same screen? We got them like 5 or 6 times. Paul Rudd and Tom Holland, did they ever cross paths? Did they ever have a scene together?
Yeah, in Civil War, yeah. I don't know if there was a scene together, but they were in that fight scene at the airport.
Right, he swings around his legs, but no like real like comedic exchange between the two of them. Ryan Reynolds and the other two that I just mentioned, we need to see more of them together in order to feel like we're actually moving on from the RDJ, Chris Evans,
the trifecta.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth with those two was great.
Yeah, but I think Hemsworth is great because of RDJ, because we've seen what he is without them.
Right. Yeah.
And then in Ragnarok, we had RDJ and Mark Ruffalo together, and Mark Ruffalo and Jeff Goldblum that kind of propelled Chris Hemsworth. In this movie, we had Chris Hemsworth and fucking Natalie Portman, who, I'm sorry, it kind of has about as much charisma as a wooden block.
Don't you think she should have won an Oscar or Golden Globe for her role in Star Wars Episode 2? That was fabulous. Those love scenes they made. God.
I love Joe Stolen. I agree with you. I think he has a lot of things that are out of his control because of, whatever religious institutions he's involved with. And he's talking about Chris Pratt here. But I still like him. I don't think he's Mario, but I still like him. And I mean, I go watch things. I watched the new Jurassic Park, even though the last one before that sucked because of Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I enjoy him in a movie. He's good.
Yeah,
I watch any Ryan Reynolds movie. I'll watch any Chris Pratt.
I still haven't seen Spirited, though. I need to watch that one.
It was good.
Was it good?
I mean, it's lost its spirit by now.
Yeah. What sucks is because now that I have so many kids and there's so many things going on, I don't think I watched one single Christmas movie or show. I wanted to watch the Christmas Story sequel. I wanted to watch the Santa Claus movie. I wanted to watch Spirited. There's a couple other ones. I don't think I had time to watch any of them.
You just have to put it on in the background as you're putting up your tree and put up.
Dude, I have ADHD. I can't put on anything in the background.
I gotta have the TV on or the radio on no matter what I do.
Yeah, like it fucking, I can't have anything on in the background or else I'm ditching making that tree and I'm watching the movie.
It's like, squirrel. Look around. Like a dog.
Well, that brings us to the end of our show. JP, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. And thank you all in the chat for being here with us. Joe's Dolan, Sticks, Matt made a brief appearance. Max made a brief appearance. Who else am I forgetting? Darth was here for a little bit. We had Carde West. Am I forgetting it? Did I say Darth Lopez?
Yep.
Guru G, who got blocked.
Guru G.
And yeah, I think that caught everybody. But thank you so much for coming and listening to our shenanigans and our antics every week after week.
And our football talk.
And our football talk. And I hope to get into more football talk. I really enjoy that, talking about football. But I appreciate you guys coming every week. And Matt should be back next week. Like I said, he's out for his daughter's birthday today. And JP, are you gonna be here next week? Maybe.
I plan to be here. It's basketball season in my neck of the woods, so
Friday night games. And I'm thinking I'm going to set up a GoFundMe account so Ish can actually fix his internet issue, because this shit's got to stop. And we talked about pools tonight. Thanks, Sticks. We got into a pool discussion.
You guys learn a lot here.
Do we have any fucking structure on the show whatsoever?
Talk about ADHD. Should call it the ADHD podcast.
The absolute, yeah, that's the ADHD. The A stands for absolute. Yeah, thanks for checking us out. And until next time, I am Lance.
And I am JP.
And we'll see you next week.
All you freaks and geeks,
come all you freaks and geeks, let's listen to Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek.
We'll go ahead and spread our cheeks,
Spread the cheese.
and drink some Cosby wine.
We'll
Come
drink
on,
some Cosby
Absolute
wine. It makes me feel real fine. See you next time on the Absolute Geek